And good morning, everybody. This is Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk to you about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. When you think of living in Vegas, folks, think living local and the return of cool. And this is our Thanksgiving Day show. Yeah, I think that's probably a good way of putting it. And I hope everybody's having a fantastic time. I really do. It is Thanksgiving. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. Everybody's off today. It is actually the busiest shopping day. I got to pop the collar. It's the busiest shopping day, the busiest travel day of the year, and we're going to talk a little bit about Thanksgiving today. We're going to talk about some of the stuff that's going on this weekend, and I hope you are ready, folks. It's going to be really, really cool. For those of you who don't know who I am, and this might be the first time you're watching the show, my name is Sherman Ray. I'm the publisher of Livin in Vegas magazine, and it comes out quarterly. We have not done Livin Weekly in a couple of weeks now, and just because end of the year rush and stuff like that, we will get back to it, folks. We really will. As a matter of fact, we've had a lot of people saying, hey, sure, we really want to get back to Livin Weekly because there's so much going on in Las Vegas, and we only trust you. I know. That's very nice of you. I know you probably trust other places, but you trust us a lot. So we want to thank you all for being very patient about that. We will get back to it. A lot of changes that have been going on over the last, month, 2 months. Where I've had to change my schedule drastically, and it will, nothing really is going to affect this living in Vegas too much, we hope, but there has been a lot of changes going on over at the company and what we do, that kind of stuff. So, before we get going too far, I want to welcome all the folks that are watching us on YouTube. You're watching us on Facebook, and I think we're out 4 or 5 different places that we broadcast our show from. And so I want to welcome you all to the show. If you like us on Facebook, so thank you so much. Be sure to go to our business page too, Livin in Vegas page, and check us out there. Also, if you're on YouTube, right here, folks, right here, there's a smash button. Just smash that button and subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can check you out. Also, you can watch us or you can keep up with us on Instagram, Twitter, that kind of stuff. So we're always there. Okay. Anyways, so today we're going to talk about Thanksgiving and some of the cool things that are going on Thanksgiving-wise, and some really exciting news about what's going on locally and historic stuff. I mean, it's just historic stuff. And if you've not checked it out yet, we're going to give you a kind of an update on what's historically happening here in the Valley and how you can celebrate. Okay. So, anyways, let's take a real quick break. I want to thank you all for being part of the show. This is Sherman Ray and the Livin in Vegas podcast. We'll be back in just a second. Hi, everybody. It's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you've got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. And we are back, folks. It's Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast. We come to you, talk to you about all kinds of cool stuff that's going on in Vegas. And this is the Thanksgiving weekend. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. If you're like a lot of people in Vegas, you've been off for like the last couple of days. Prepping for the day. Back in 1621 actually, when the Pilgrims and the first peoples of America, American Indians, were here, and they met together and they celebrated the first Thanksgiving. And I don't know if many of you know this, but actually Thanksgiving was not celebrated in America officially as a holiday until like the 1800s, something like that. So it was a long time away. So tomorrow we're actually going to celebrate that, and there is news, folks, that this weekend is expected to be the busiest travel weekend in the last 20 years, and this is by the AAA of Nevada, that they were saying that about 55 million people are expected to travel nationwide for Thanksgiving, about 1.5% increase over 2021. It's probably because of the pandemic. A lot of people are just like, even though inflation is through the roof and it's just ridiculous, still people have just been like this because of the pandemic. They want to get out. They got to get out, even if they have to hawk everything they've got. And so, like I said, it's a 1.5% increase over 2021, 98% of the pre-pandemic travel volume, according to the AAA. So we're almost back up to where it was at pre-pandemic. Of those, nearly 49 million people are slated to travel by car. That's a lot of people, folks, really. With 4.5 million estimated to take to the air. And once again, even though those are increases from 2021, many times it's because even though the prices on everything is like ridiculous, excuse me. It's a nervous thing, folks. It's not that I'm tired. Really, I went out riding. I'll tell you about that in just a minute, too. But I yawn because, especially if you're watching us on video, many people are getting the podcast of this, so they would never know I'm yawning. but you folks that are watching it, you actually have to put up with that. So I should probably put a thing up like this and go, so you can't see me yawn. Even though prices on everything are through the roof, and literally they're through the roof, gas prices have come down since before the midterm elections, but 2 years ago, gas prices at this point were like $2. Now they're $4.25 or $4.50, approaching $5. That's here in Las Vegas. And nationally, it's still up. So, but people are saying, look, they're going to bite the bullet. They're going to travel anyways. It doesn't matter how much it costs. It's that you've got to get out of the house. So that's pretty cool. Another story. Let's talk a little bit more about Thanksgiving here, especially as it results to Las Vegas. That parking over at the Harry Reid, formerly McCarran Airport, they said if you want to get out of town, folks, that you probably should be doing it like right now if you're going to fly, because of the parking at the airport. If you're planning on parking your car there, you're not having somebody drop you off, drive by, flip you off, get out the door as you leave. But if you're planning on parking in one of the parking lots, Terminal 1, they said that both Terminal 1 long-term and Terminal 3 were closed. So once again, Terminal 1 long-term and Terminal 3 are closed. And it's because Terminal 3 long-term was open, and that's just because so many people are leaving out of town. They're just getting out of town, and they're saying, look, if you want to get out of there, folks, you better do something. We will leave a link so that you can find out, maybe get updated on the parking. We'll leave that on our website at livininvegas.com. So, see, I'll do that. So most of you can't tell. So, isn't that much better? Okay. We'll leave a link to that on our Livin in Vegas website so you can check that out. As a matter of fact, let's talk a little bit about our website really quickly here, folks. We're getting a lot of requests to do articles, to do updates, and that kind of stuff, and we really appreciate that. If there's something that you see that you think we'd be interested in publishing, that our readers would be interested in hearing about, just send me an email to info@livininvegas.com. That's info@livininvegas.com. We're getting stuff from some of the major casinos that are saying, hey, guess what, we got this, we got that. We tend to look for things that are not related to the Strip. Okay, we tend to. It's not that we're adverse to the Strip, but we think that the people of Las Vegas live in the city of Las Vegas, which is not the Strip. So anything that's going on other than, the strip. We really... Oh boy, you didn't want to hear that one, folks. That was like a real loud sneeze. I caught the sneeze-o-meter there real quick before we did that. So the airport is doing some amazing things there. And once again, the airport parking, once again, Terminal 1 long-term, closed. Terminal 3 economy, closed. Terminal 3 long-term is open right now, and so you want to definitely, if you want to get down there pretty quick. Get your car in there. Okay, it might cost you an arm and a leg, but it is what it is. Let's talk a little bit about what should we talk about? Okay, let's talk about the Mirage. Okay, so many of you know about the Mirage. That the Mirage. Oh shoot! What did I just do? I just got rid of the story that I wanted. Okay, I just erased one of my stories, but I know what it is. So the Mirage, the Secret Garden, which has been around for 30 years, folks, is going to permanently close. Yeah, this article, and I forgot even where the article was at. I'm gonna try to find it because it's actually a pretty good article. I'm gonna see. Yeah, it was Channel 8. Okay, so basically, what the story says is that there it goes. The Mirage is being sold. So they're saying in part of what they're doing is they've been deliberating this for quite a while, what they're going to do with the Secret Garden and dolphin habitat. And so they said, what we're going to do is they're going to just let it fade away and let it sunset. It's done. And that way they can sell it to the Hard Rock, and those folks can update, what they're going to do. And so it's really kind of a bittersweet end to a storied past. The dolphin habitat and the Secret Garden have been a part of the Las Vegas scene for 30 years, and but like most things, they just have to end. So that's what they're going to do. And many of you know that prior to this closing, there were a couple of dolphins at the habitat. There was only 3 dolphins that were there, as it was during the habitat, but 2 of them got sick. They had some lung infections, that kind of stuff. And so if you want to know what's going to happen with all the animals that are part of the Secret Garden, and they said they're going to put those in different places, so they don't worry. Let your hearts not be troubled, folks. They'll do something with those animals. We're so glad about that. So let's talk a little bit about the governor. The governator. Our new governor-elect, Joe Lombardo, did a news conference at his alma mater, Rancho High School, the same place my brother went to, my older brother. And Joe Lombardo, I don't know how old Joe is. He and I are probably close to the same age. I'm sure we are. I'm sure we're pretty close to the same age. But Joe said that he is going to, under his administration, they're going to expand educational options, which has been something that has been the bane of the Clark County School District for I don't know how many years now. It's well over a decade that we have just been suffering with just low test scores, and our kids are just getting these terrible, this education here in the lower 48 or the lower part of the state. So Joe Lombardo says, look, that he's going to expand school choice so that kids can go to charter schools if they want to, and this really affects minority students of color who want to go to these schools, and they don't want to go to the regular schools that are failing them. So what they're doing, and this a good friend of mine, her name is it's Valeria Gurr, and Valeria Gurr is and I should remember exactly, she's the director for outreach, American Federation for Children is what she does, and she's actually the director. She's actually working on her doctorate right now, or her PhD, which is so great. And Valeria and I were talking about this. I got to MC an educational forum with this was prior to the midterm elections. We did 3 of them where it was the whole focus was on education. That's really big. It's high on everybody's list. It's high on the governor's list, and that's what he was explaining during this meeting. And what Valeria has been fighting for, she's been championing this. She's been a lobbyist for the American Federation for Children for the last few years, and she's basically been doing a yeoman's work of getting in front of these lawmakers and saying, look, we need school choice. We need to expand charter schools. Now, the interesting thing about it is there was a law that was passed a number of years ago. It was brought up by Scott Hammond, who's a state senator, hails from Las Vegas, where they were supposed to fund charter schools. They were supposed to expand the ability of people to go to these schools. And Democrats who have a majority in both houses of Congress basically squashed it. Steve Sisolak was part of it too. They were part of the teachers union who said no, they don't want to give parents access to charter schools or any other school, and we don't want their money going to fund this stuff. So they basically put a block on kids' ability to get better education. Now, interesting thing about this is that if you're a rich kid, you can go to any school you want. If you are a kid of means, your parents have means, you can take your kid, and this is what happened with my brother-in-law. And so my nephew and my niece, they live in the south end of the valley, and their parents, who were fairly well off, said, we don't want our kids going to the schools over there. So my sister-in-law, trucked my nephew and my niece up to the Meadows School, which is up near where my house is at, which is on the north end of the valley. She drove them there every day to go to school. Well, it's wonderful. If you have money, if you have means, you can do that. Well, not everybody in the valley has those kind of means, those opportunities, or those kinds of resources to do that. And so that's what the governor is saying we're going to do. We're going to expand school choice. We're going to expand charter schools, and and I don't know how he's going to do it. This is going to be quite the act that he's going to be trying to do. But this is a fantastic, great first move for for school choice here in Nevada, and hopefully that will raise up the next generation of kids that will be just excited about leading the next generation. Wouldn't that be cool? I think so. Let's take a really quick break, folks. We'll be back with more of the Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm your host, Sherman Ray. We'll be back in a second. Hi, everybody. It's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you've got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. All right, and we are back, folks. I'm Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast, and we were talking in the last segment about some of the things that are going on statewide. Let's get back to Vegas real quick, okay? So many of you know that we are basically the sports capital of the world right now. We are the prettiest girl on the block. We are wanted by everybody. So the NCAA just awarded the Final Four to Las Vegas for the first time. Come on, baby, basketball. So we're talking about basketball here. The Final Four is headed for the first time to Las Vegas, where wagering on the NCAA tournament has long been the staple of March Madness revelry. So we're going to get it over at the Allegiant Stadium 27-28 season. That'll be cool. So that'll be cool. The NCAA also announced that there'll be at Ford Field in Detroit to host the Final Four in 27. Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis will be in 2029. So we're going to get them in 27-28, which will be great. I'll tell you, this is marking a big milestone for us in Las Vegas. Since we've gotten Allegiant Stadium and we've gotten T-Mobile, that kind of stuff, we've diversified our economy to include sports in a big way. In another couple of months, we're going to actually have the F1 rally, which will be the first for us where we'll actually have a rally. And it won't be just, we just finished up, and I didn't find out what it was. This go-kart racing that was behind the Rio. This was cool. This was no joke. Trailers everywhere. They filled up that whole back lot where the Rio was at. And we're having go-karts. My wife works very close to there. She said that's all she could hear were these go-karts just going that kind of stuff, which is cool. Let's stay on UNLV for just a second. So UNLV, folks, guess what? That's right, they won again. The men's Running Rebels, the Running Rebel, our basketball team for UNLV, are now a perfect season 5-0. 5-0, folks. Oh, telling you, folks, I'm so excited. We beat Southern Illinois. We beat them, 56-49? Yeah, 56-49, which is great. So this is cool. This is the first time we've been 5-0 in 5 years. Pretty darn cool. Perfect season. All right. Our next game is in Southern Cal. Will be Wednesday, 7:30 p.m., which will be great. We'll play Minnesota in a championship game of Southern Cal Challenge Wednesday. Okay, the Southern Cal Championship on Wednesday. So that's today. It'll be very cool. Leading scores, and I wish I could go through all the scores, guys. I can't go through it. Okay, I'll say a couple. Keyshawn Gilbert, I think he got 18 points. Elijah Harkless, 18. Luis Rodriguez, 14 points. And Elijah Parquet, he had 4 points. Okay, so it's cool. We had some good scores. This is actually pretty cool. So we've been talking about this, how the women have been leading the way. But the guys have been doing awesome. The Rebels, the running Rebels have been doing good. Our girls volleyball team has done great. I wish I had a story about them. I had to choose which story it was, but the men have finally, they're doing some cool stuff here, so we're very, very excited about that. Let's talk a little bit about what's going to happen this weekend. The Raiders are playing this weekend, so they're going to be playing against Seattle this weekend, and they'll be in Seattle. They're still on a road show. Many of you know that they just won against Denver this Sunday, which is great. They got off of a 10-game losing streak. It was terrible, but we're so excited about that the Raiders are that they've won. They're going to once again to Seattle. Seattle is 6-4. The Raiders are 3-7, which means we actually have a shot at this. We really do. And I love Seattle, but you know what? You're playing against my boys. Speaking of the Raiders actually just signed for a trademark. So they got a trademark that they, guess what the trademark is? Win City. So they filed for a trademark, and it's called Win City. So they're going to put it on T-shirts and stuff like that, and it should be pretty cool. I'm very excited for that, to find out what they're going to do with that. How much time do we got? Oh, I got plenty of time. Oh my gosh! All right. Let's talk a little bit about this young girl. Now, there was a girl, and what's her name? Her name is Kumea Norwood, or Kumei. Kumea Norwood. Sorry, I'm destroying your name. Anyways, she is the owner of Tofu Teas, and they're over at Ferguson's downtown. And she's been doing her little thing for the last couple of years, and which is a T-shirt shop, just doing T-shirts. And while she's out front, partly doing the register and stuff like that, the rest of the day she's just thinking up these new cool things. And so her parents, Tiara and Devon, helped her move through the ranks of business entrepreneurship, and now she has her own standalone building or standalone retail shop where she's working on more T-shirts. So we're very excited to hear about her. We're going to try to follow her, okay, to see what she's doing and see how she's doing. Love young entrepreneurs. It's so excited to watch young entrepreneurs get out there, stretch their legs, and to see what they're going to do later. Okay, and if you start your kids out young, like we did start with our kids, we exposed all of our kids to our business, because we had a business where we had a restaurant, and from there, went to the Black Business Chamber of Commerce. We'd always try to take our kids with us to anything that we did, so they would be exposed to that stuff. Because if you don't expose them to stuff, they'll always say, "Hey, guess what? You know, they'll never expect or have the expectation that they can ever do this." And all of our kids all said to a man, "Hey, we'd like to do something like this. We'd like to own our own business. Sounds like fun." It is fun. It's very fun. It's very tough. It's taxing, but you can do this. Anybody can do it if they really want to do it. Okay, last story. Let's do one last story. The Nevada Department of Corrections. They're closing their Warm Springs Correctional Center amid staffing shortages. And this will be the last story? Yeah, this will be the last story. So what's happening is the Warm Springs Correctional Center in Carson City, basically they said, look, we don't have enough people to man these. And there's actually a couple of these facilities that are in and around, northern Nevada and southern Nevada, that they're saying, look, we don't have the manpower. They're generally working at 50% staffing vacancies, and that's no good. I mean, it's dangerous. It's not safe for either the employees or the inmates, because they're looking for people to keep some order in those places. So they're going to consolidate. They said they'll save an estimate $14 million by doing this. Well, hopefully what will even be better is that they get less people to throw in jail. So that takes you and me, folks. You and I just doing the right thing. Just don't do it. You don't want to be like Todd and Todd Chrisley. I know. Did you hear about that? I know. Chrisley knows best. I saw that on the news yesterday where Todd Chrisley and his wife are both going to jail. Todd's going 12 years, and the wife is getting 7 years. Man, wow. Yeah, I know. What else could happen? Nothing, because we live in Las Vegas, folks, and it's Thanksgiving, folks, and we're so excited about it. Hopefully, folks, you are going to spend that time with family, with friends, giving thanks to God for all the great things that has happened to you this year. I know I am. Even if bad things didn't happen, or bad things happened to you this year, be grateful for those bad things. Let me tell you a real quick story before we leave. There was a guy who was a air conditioning heating guy, and told his wife, it was right before Easter, that he didn't have enough money, wasn't making enough money to buy his daughter brand new shoes for Easter. She's a 6-year-old little girl. And, he was kind of complaining about that. He just didn't have the money for it. Well, I got a phone call from one of the richest families in that part of the state. This is a true story. He got a phone call from one of the richest families to come over and work on their unit over there. And he gets in the house and he's working on the unit, and the wife is there, and he tells the wife of the owner of the house, he says, he starts complaining to her. He goes, just don't make enough money to buy my daughter these new shoes for Easter. And the wife goes running out of the room crying, just sobbing. In comes the husband. And the husband tells the guy who's been complaining, he says, look, we have a 6-year-old daughter too, and I heard about your plight, not being able to buy new shoes for your daughter. He says, my daughter has never been able to walk. He said, I would give everything I have, my home, my cars, my bank account. I would live at the end of a dusty road if I could just have my daughter be able to wear and walk in dirty shoes. All that to say, be thankful, folks. Be thankful for the good things. Be thankful for the bad things. There's always going to be somebody that is worse off than you. But be thankful that you live in the greatest country, the freest country, the country with the most opportunity, the greatest social experiment there is on earth. We take this day, we take this time to thank God, to thank Providence for living in America. That brave men and women crossed the ocean blue to come to this country for the freedoms that we now enjoy. Don't ever, ever, ever forget, folks, that you live in the freest country in the world, and you live in the best state that there is. This is Sherman Ray for the Livin in Vegas podcast. I want to thank you all once again for being a part of the show, and we hope again to see you. We'll be back again Friday for more of the Livin in Vegas podcast. Take it easy, folks. Bye-bye.